All right, we're going to talk about siphons. Let's say I have a bucket of water down here and a bucket of water up here. I'll put some water in here and more water up here. I want to move some of the water from the higher bucket to the lower bucket. So I'm going to put a tube right here. And if the tube is filled with water, then this creates what we call a siphon. Now, the force behind siphon is gravity. If you look at this side, there's a lot of water on this side of the siphon compared to this other side of the siphon because it's taller. Because of that, gravity is going to pull harder on this water than it is on this water, because with more water, it's heavier. That's what heavier means. So when gravity pulls harder here, it's going to cause the water to flow in this direction. That would be nice, and it would work as long as water could stick together. But as we know, water does not. Water tends to separate from itself. So the question is, what keeps the water from separating right here, and this half going this way, and the other part going that way? The answer is air pressure. So let me explain. Let's say that we have this siphon, and this were all filled with water. Let's say the water starts to flow, just like I explained, divides right here. Some of it flows this way, and some of it, the other flows this way. That would create nothing in here. Now, there's no way for the air to get in here, so this area would then become a vacuum. In other words, there's nothing there. No water, no air, no anything. There's air pressure all around. It's pushing down on the top of the surface of the water. There's a lot of air pressure. This is the weight of all the air on top of us all the way up to the top of the atmosphere, pushing down on us. This is what creates air pressure. And so you have all this pressure. Now this pressure that's pushing down on the surface of the water here is pushing the water back up the siphon. So here in the vacuum, there's no pressure at all. So there's nothing to keep the water from being just pushed back. So a vacuum can't form in there because the weight of the water pulling down is nothing near the force of the pressure of the air pressure, which holds the water in place. This essentially keeps a vacuum from forming. And what this does is it makes it so that our siphon will actually work. So that since the water can't separate, there's more water over here than there is over here, and so gravity will pull the water in that direction. And that is how air pressure and gravity combine to make a siphon work. Now, if you tried to do this on the moon, there's no air. Of course, water would evaporate on the moon, so let's say instead of water, it's mercury, like you find in a mercury thermometer. We have mercury here, and we have a tube, and we fill it with mercury here. The mercury on the moon would indeed split right here. This part would flow this way, that part would flow this way, and the siphon would not work, because without air pressure, there's nothing to keep the water together, so a siphon would be impossible.